Hello, my people. It's another episode of Reality Chat Room with Damz. And on today's episode, we are going to be discussing people pleasing versus diplomacy. And I have our guest here with me that would help us to dive into this topic very well. I'm sure that you would learn one or two by the time we are done. Over to our guest. Let her introduce herself to us.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time zone. My name is Abidemi, and I am a media and communicator for a travel company called Touchdown Travels Limited. It's a travel company that's been in the game since over 3 decades, and what we do is we just manage all your travel plans, itinerary bookings, and all of that. So yeah, we're here today.
Okay, so now that I intend to travel to Canada, you can help me with that.
Yes, I
can. Okay, so let's just go right into it without wasting our time. So when you hear people pleasing, what comes to mind?
A number of things, actually. Okay. So I'm thinking of how it started, why somebody is a people pleaser, what they intend to gain or benefit from being a people pleaser. So it's like a full scope, all together. So people pleasing can happen, based on different reasons. But mostly when you really dive into it, you see that it's something that's happened since upbringing. It goes back to people's upbringings, like how were you raised? What were the things that you were allowed to do when you were small? What were the things that you weren't allowed to do? Were your opinions heard? Did you think that you had to do something to get something in return? Were you just properly loved growing up? Were you giving an avenue to just be yourself, to properly grow? So it's a number of things, like I've said.
Okay, when you said were you just properly loved? What does it mean to be properly loved?
Well, I think being properly loved would mean different things to different
people. Okay.
But
for you, what does it mean?
Yeah, for me, especially in context of what we're talking about, it would be that growing up, you're allowed to give your opinions. And if you look at African homes, you don't find that in many homes.
It's not common.
You're not allowed to say what you think. Especially to an older person, it comes off like you're being disrespectful. They just say do this and you have to do it.
Do it. No complaints.
You get. So that's a very big part of being properly loved for me. And that's why you would then have people that would grow into somebody that they're not entirely. They cannot talk to people without feeling, oh, I need to do too much. They cannot interact with people based off of who they are. They're not completing themselves. So I think
so. They need external validation to be able to even believe in themselves.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
So common traits of people pleasing is people that find it difficult to say no.
Yeah.
People that are constantly seeking validation. They avoid conflict at all costs.
Yeah, they don't like confrontation.
But the thing is that I wonder how people pleasers do it, because really, how are you going to avoid confrontations in this world that we have?
Well,
you definitely step on people's toes, except you want to be a people pleaser, like we're talking about.
Yes. It's hard to avoid confrontation. Especially if you're interacting with a lot of people. If you are a career person, if you want to be heard, if you want to make an impact, you are going to step on many toes. You are going to do things that should not be done. You're going to do it in ways that it should naturally not be done. And if we look at it, rebellious people tend to make a statement. So a people pleaser is very hard to.
So are we saying that people pleasers are rebellious?
No. It's the opposite, actually.
Okay.
People pleasers are people that just want to do things the way that it should be done. Overdo it, even. If you say don't stand, those are the people that don't stand can mean between a period of 9 to 5. People pleasers want to go till 7 p.m. They're trying to let you know that I can do it, I can be it, when it's not necessary.
So trying to prove something that they don't have to prove.
Validation, like if I do too much, maybe then they're going to accept me that, oh, okay, she can do this, she can be put in this position, and it's not a good look.
It's not a good thing. Yeah. So do you think there's a thin line between people pleasing and diplomacy?
See, that's a very dicey question. And I think it's interesting for me because over the years, especially, career-wise, I've had to shift a lot. I used to be against diplomacy. I completely used to hate it. But if you look at the way the world is, especially in the career sector, the professional world, you have to be diplomatic. if you're going to do something, if you're going to stand out, if you're going to get people to do things they would normally not do for other people,
if you're going to keep relationships,
you need to be diplomatic. And it's a blurry line. It's a blurry line, especially for people that do not have an identity. You don't know who you are. You cannot stand tall without thinking, am I doing too much, imposter syndrome and all of that. But I tell people in the career world, you learn on the job, you fake it till you become it. And it's not a thing of, the usual faking it that you hear. No, when you get a job, you get an offer that you don't think you're entirely qualified for, you take it. When you get the job, then you learn on the job. You interact with people. And that's where diplomacy comes in. You're in a career space where you can separate someone's skills from their personality.
Yes.
So that's being diplomatic. You don't like this person for who they are personality-wise, but they are really good at their job. So what do? You compromise. If it comes to the job, you ask for their opinion. You apologize, you beg if you need to. That doesn't make you less of who you are. Yeah. What it does for you is you open any door. Like, you will knock on doors, people are compelled to open it to you. Why? Because you know how to twist and turn. You know what to say to them to get them to listen to you. You know how to, bargain. You do too much sometimes. Some people, you just, on a Friday, you're like, oh, okay, do you want me to buy you something? You don't even need a favor at the time.
You're just watering the ground.
Watching the ground. You're like, let me do it for you. They give you extra jobs to do. And, it's a common thing I've seen with interns. When they get to an organization, they say, oh, I just want to do what I'm employed to do. No, that won't take you far. So
I have one of my pastors, it would say that you find people saying they are using me in that, workspace or at that job that I'm doing. He said, the truth is, in fact, they are not using you.
They're not.
Maybe you are the one even using them. Because why you think they are using you, you're actually gaining and benefiting more from them.
It can look like that. Especially, like I said, separating people's personality from what they're good at. You can have a boss that's like really good at their job, but they have a shitty personality. And so because of their personality, you think they are using you. But if you look at it on a larger scale, especially bosses like that, they get you to do more work, and while doing that, you're like getting more knowledge. You're knowledgeable enough to even take their position if they're not careful, and that's what it does for you. So if you're willing to be used, yes, everybody's using everybody in this world, my dear. Everybody, we're all using each other. If you get a job now and you're doing great at it, you think they're using you, but they're paying you. So you're using them, they're using you.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're getting from being used. I think that's the most important part.
Okay, so let's go back to people pleasing now. How do you deal with guilt whenever you say no? Or do you even feel guilty at all?
Well, the way that I'm set up, I rarely feel guilty about saying no.
I can sense that from your tone
I really
already.
do. But, there are people that are important to you that you have to say no to, and then you feel bad for saying no. But on the long run, you need to know why you're saying no. Because sometimes saying no is best for that person more than it is for you. You don't want to put them in a compromising situation. I've worked with an intern that feels like, oh, I don't let her do, interact with the bosses and all. And the reason is because I know she cannot undo the kind of pressure that comes from it.
But now she thinks that, you don't want...
she thinks that, oh, I'm not, putting her on the spotlight. You will crumble when you get that spotlight. Because it's hard for even, people that do it. Because, like my boss was telling me something that when he's doing, when he's approving an opinion or whatever I'm bringing to the table, people are quick to say, oh, he's approving that. But he's saying it to me that what they don't get is they have line managers. So if he decides to fire them, their line manager can come and apologize on their behalf. I don't have a line manager. I report directly. So if he says he's firing me, nobody can intercede. You get, that's the kind of pressure I'm talking about. But people, when you say no to them, they think, oh, you're being the bad person. No, I'm just saying you can't undo this at this time. So, if I look at it over time and I feel like, okay, you've picked one or two things and
then
stuff, and I think you can then undo that, I'm going to put you there.
Okay, so I think much more than even saying no, the way we say it's
very important.
Is a determinant factor.
Yes, it is. I think because we're all emotional beings, regardless of how tough we can come. How you present something matters sometimes more than what you're presenting.
Yes.
So if you're saying no to someone, or you're saying, I cannot let you do this thing at this particular time, you also need to give a context. You need to let them know why you're saying it. Now, it's not left to, communication is easy. Comprehension is the difficult part. So if you say, I don't want you to do this thing now, let them comprehend it in a way that, but you've tried your best to pass the message, like, in a good way. So it's left to them to then, like, interpret it however they choose to.
Okay, so is diplomacy always the right approach in a toxic work environment?
Well, it depends on the level of toxicity. So if we're talking about, because see, I tell people, if you don't want to do politics will do you in offices. It's very normal. You can't avoid
Workplace politics.
It's there. Like, we talk about politics outside work. Those ones are small. When you get is kill or be killed.
Especially in corporate organizations.
Yeah, and sometimes you just sit down and be like, for what? Like,
what are we doing
all this for? So while for, it may not be for all situations that diplomacy is the best approach, but largely in corporate organizations, diplomacy it will save you a lot. It will. So yes, you might need to be like, diplomatic in many things that you do. Yeah.
Okay, so do you think religion has had any effect in people pleasing, or it has conditioned people to always people please?
No, I don't like to narrow certain things down to religion.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of self-awareness, upbringing, like I said before, personal development, because religion is religion. You are you.
You are two different, entities.
While it may mix together. I'm a very spiritual person. While it may mix together, there has to be. Even you can't do religion.
And we talked about upbringing initially, that it's part of why some people would people please. And if you're going to look at their upbringing, there's no way you not look at religion as
because,
society.
African homes and all that. But I think I always say to my friends, if you're like 20, 25, the responsibility is now on you to unlearn a lot of things, to put a lot of things differently, to change your perspective about life. Because really, it's just you. I think, you get to a point in adulthood and you realize that it's just you have. So the earlier that you click into the thing, the better. So I won't say entirely that, while it may be a thing that your parents did because of religion, maybe religion had an influence on it, but for you,
you don't have to continue
it. You don't have to continue that. You need to break all of that garbage and whatnot.
Do you think it's possible to be firm and kind?
But I'm firm and kind. So I think it's very possible. I am.
Because, sometimes people want to guilt trip you when you say no, and they feel that, you are not being empathetic towards them.
No. I think that, everybody has different interpretation of empathy, being firm and being kind. Discipline is very key. And even these people that say that you're not firm, you're not kind, they won't compromise on some things for you. They won't. Like, people will literally throw you under the bus to save themselves. And these are people that
when
you look
push
out
comes
for.
to shove.
Yeah, so I've been in that position before. The way that I care about people, especially in a workplace, like, I've been in that position where I would literally do anything for the people that I work with. But when things turned around, it was a different story entirely. And so it was a hard lesson. It literally took almost a year to learn it, but it's a hard lesson that you have to learn. So now I'm in a different organization and I know not to be that person. While I respect you, I care about you, as an individual outside work, I also know that I'm not going to, bend my back or, just kill myself to
So would it mean that you're not going to go the extra mile?
It depends if the person is deserving of it.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I'm a spiritual person. I feel like, regardless of everything, love is key. You read the Bible and say, love yourself as your
love your neighbor as yourself.
But then you read another part that says, love your neighbor the way God loves you. So that's like a bigger one. You need to be able to see the light in people. But while you're doing that, please put yourself first. It's not being selfish. It's just, being reasonable.
Okay. So how do you think people can begin to unlearn the habit of people pleasing while still being respectful and considerate?
I think the first thing you need to recognize is the damage that it's doing to you. I think that there's a turning point for everybody. You can do something for as long as you want to do it. But the minute you click and you know that this is not...
For some people, it takes forever for them to actually
click. It does. And you have to be surrounded by the right people to have, a very small circle of friends. But it's very important to me that you can have certain conversations. Oh, am I doing this right? Am I tripping? Is this something that I need to do better? So you need to have people that call you to order. Because even while we say that we're diplomatic and we know when to say no, there are some situations that are really tight, they're really difficult, and you are still struggling to decide. But if you have people that you can speak to, or your mom, my mom is my go-to. You just put the the situation on the table, and then you
And
get
just-
an opinion about it. And I think it makes it easier to then decide.
Okay, so how do you know that you are people pleasing or you are being diplomatic?
Like I said earlier, how it feels for you, what it does to you. You know, you work out. Have you been in a situation where somebody probably treated you bad, and you're then the next morning you're in your bathroom, and it just becomes you like, they should have not done me like that. You know, that happens in people pleasing too. You've handled the situation a certain way, and then you're just probably going about your day, and you just, why did I do that to myself? Those are the key pointers. Like, I should never do this to myself. Nobody should have such power or such charge over me. You know, if I'm making a decision, it's because I think it's best for me to make that decision, and not because I'm trying to satisfy someone.
Okay,
or,
so
you know.
so I think that sometimes we might think that we're making the best decision for ourselves.
Yeah.
And maybe later on, you just find out that that's not the best decision. Maybe you could have,
Done
approached it
better.
in a better way.
So, you know,
What happens?
the way that I'm set up, again, is I like to follow. When I make a decision, I want to make it and be sure that I made this for myself. So that 10 years down the line, or even 2 months or 2 days after, and it doesn't go the way that I planned, I can, with my full chest, say that I made that decision and I'm now bearing the consequences. You know, I think it's a mindset that people need to have.
Yes.
So while, you know, you have friends, you have people you talk to, you read, you watch videos, it helps you, it guides you on how to make certain decisions and how to move. But also, be firm in yourself, be confident in yourself. And I don't think a lot of people have that. Some of us have confidence.
I think the
comes
fear of
from
making
God.
mistakes.
It's okay, make a lot of mistakes.
Exactly.
But don't do detrimental ones anyways, but yeah.
So I would say that take calculated risk. That's what I would
works,
always
yeah.
say. You know,
Take
so that
calculated
if
risk.
anything happens, you know that whatever you're facing is going to be minimal.
Yeah.
I've had a situation whereby people said, don't do this, don't do that. And I insisted that this is what I'm going to do. I want to do this. And whatever comes out of it is fine. I'm okay by it.
Yeah.
I did it, and just like they've foreseen, you know, it happened that way. And I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah, because you made the decision for yourself.
Exactly. But some people might not be that lucky. I just think about it that.
Yeah, and I think there are a number of restrictions to making certain decisions. So there's also that. So
Okay, so how do you set or reset boundaries in a relationship where you have been the yes person for too long? You're always saying yes. I mean, you.
well, first of all,
pleasing.
I've never really been in a relationship like that, but I think that boundaries can be hard. And, you know, not only on the person that's setting it, but the person receiving it too. But you need that also it exposes you to how much people care about you and how they love and respect you. If you're setting boundaries, whoever is on the receiving end, they have to have a level of respect for you to then accept it. You know, it's change and it's okay. They just need to understand that you know what you're doing. You're making, you know, the best decision for yourself. And then play it out. Let's see how it goes. So what you need to do is have a conversation. Conversations are key. Communicate properly. This is how I feel when this happens. And I think that I cannot continue to allow this to happen. It makes me feel this way. I don't like how I feel. You speak about it and then you move on from there and you say, while I think, you know, this is hard, but I think we should be able to do this for a certain period of time. Let's just see what, you know
How
the
it's going to
result
be.
is.
Yeah.
And then you can move on from there. So that's where having the right people in your life matters. You don't want to be with somebody that the minute you say you can't do something, they're flaring up in your face. You don't want that bad energy. So push it out. But if you have the right people, setting boundaries can be easy. So that's what I think.
So do you think that people pleasing damages self-esteem?
does.
Or okay, so I feel that people pleasing comes as a result of low self-esteem.
Yeah.
So then it further damages it. So what?
See, self-awareness is key. And I've come to realize that a large number of people are not self-aware.
Self-aware.
They're not. And the reason is because it's hard. You have to sit with yourself, you know. There's a level of intentionality that it requires that many people cannot have. And that's why, you know, you see envy as a thing. You see hatred as a thing. No, when you sit down, you narrow it down to where the problem is coming from. Why do I feel this way about this thing?
Person or this thing.
When you narrow it down, it's easy to move on from there. So I think, you know, people pleasing is a result of, you know, what's it called? You have
Self-identity, identity issues.
You have low self-esteem. You don't feel confident in yourself. You don't feel good in yourself enough. and you don't have something to fall back on. Some of us, it's only Jesus we have, but it's enough. To be honest, I tell you,
Jesus is enough, actually.
It's enough. When I want to make the toughest decisions, I don't see God. If I go into this and it flops, now me and you. Yes, and it's okay. You know, you need to know who your father is, so you can charge like that. But some people don't know that, and they don't even have physical presence of people to also help them. So that's what I think is the issue.
Okay, so for some people that are really, do you think that, how do I put this now? Do you think the way someone looks, their shape, their gender kind of affects their self-esteem?
No, I don't think so. You know, it's easy to, in a world like this. I was talking about to a friend yesterday, and she was telling me about how she hated her name for the longest time, and I love her name. Right? And the reason she hated it is because in high school, they turned the pronunciation upside down.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that's a very simple example, but a very powerful one. You know, even me, I didn't like one of my names for the longest time. And it took my brother carrying that name like it was his family property for me to love
for you to actually love it.
So everybody deals with one thing or the other. But if you're saying looks, I don't think it is it in its entirety.
You know, some people feel that they are not beautiful.
No,
they feel that
so while your physical appearance may not be what you think you want it to be, but it is all that you have.
No, my question to these people is that what actually sets the standards of beauty?
Yeah.
So what actually sets the beauty standards? Like, why bother yourself on what you really do not have a power over?
Well, I think the problem is people have power over a lot of things now.
Okay,
you know?
well,
you don't like your teeth, you can fix it. You don't like your nose, you can
with the
fix
event
it.
of, you know, liposuction and BBL and all of that.
But the thing is, you have to be realistic, you know, and you need to find self-worth within. You know, I know it sounds cliche when people say it starts from within, but it really starts from within. You know, you need to pull from inside, draw from something within. If you need to be aware, like find things that you love about yourself. Find a lot of things you love about yourself. And it does not necessarily have to be your physical appearance. Do you do things better than people do it? Do you speak well? Do you think better
major on that?
You know, there are things that you cannot find in other people, but you find in yourself. And you need to appreciate them enough. You need
because I've noticed this thing about some petite people. They feel that because they are small and they have this defensive mindset.
I always tell my friend, what people lack in height, they have in character.
Really?
To be honest.
I mean, up front, they're already waiting that when this person comes like this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
That's
and
defensive.
I think sometimes that strains relationship. Because now I'm coming to you with an open mind. I just want us to do this, but then you are giving me that defensive attitude already, like we are sworn enemies.
Yeah, you also cannot entirely blame them because people can push people around a lot. You know, they take advantage of their height and
they bully them and all of
so,
that.
like I said, it comes from you knowing who you are, being confident in who you are, what you have to offer. So all of those things don't even bother you. We see short people, they walk into boardrooms, everybody is quiet. You know, because they carry something that's more than their stature. There's this aura that goes before them. You know, when they speak, people want to listen. So there are other things to probe into than how you look. I think that's how it should be.
So I think, you know, bringing the session to a close, you really talk about people working on themselves. I mean, have something that people want. Such that you are quite indispensable, so to say.
Well, I did marketing, so yes, I can talk about that. You know, you need to have something to offer. You need to, because there's really nothing you want to do now that people are not already doing. So what makes you stand out is how you present yourself, what you do that, like a unique selling point, what you have that other people do not have. How you can be I tell you, we can have 5 people here saying the same thing, but you listen to one person more than you listen to other people. And that it goes beyond studying the book. You know, it's charisma, it's aura, it's confidence.
It's been you.
It's been you. Like I did debate for back-to-back for over 7 years. You know, you stand in front of the mirror and you're speaking to yourself, you're gesticulating, you're walking, you are there thinking if people are not listening, they have to listen to what I'm saying. You know, because there has to be something that you are passing across to people. And I think people generalize you. They see themselves like other people. You shouldn't do that. You are not other people.
You are different.
I mean, God listens to you. He hears you. When you pray, He knows that it's you that's speaking. He knows your voice. If God can single you out like that, do that to yourself too. So there's a level of consciousness that I think people need to have that they don't have. So I think it's something everybody should work on.
So to solve the issue of people pleasing, you have to first be conscious of yourself.
Yes.
Know who you are. And, you know, be what's it called now? Be okay with who you are.
Who you are.
Yes. while you are even improving yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
it doesn't mean that, you know, you're different or you don't know who you are, even while you're trying to improve on yourself.
Yeah.
Be okay with who you are.
Yeah, I mean, there can be two truths. You can be confident of
Can
who you are,
coexist.
and
They are not mutually
trying
exclusive.
to be
Yeah.
better.
So what would you say to, you know, our besties as we bring the session to a close, like a parting word?
Yeah, well, I think that everybody needs to tune into themselves, find what you think, you know, you're good at, and then build on it, capitalize on it. See, bank on yourself. Like, you know, bank on yourself like mad. Because if you don't, I'd say you, out of like 20 people, it's very rare that somebody just looks at you and then picks a liking in you. We speak about grace, you know, that's
Very
God's
well,
extension,
yeah.
that's spirituality. But there has to be like a physical effort that you're making too. So when there are like 100 people, let's it be you that.
I know sometimes I use this word when discussing with some people.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not like I'm trying to blow my own trumpet,
Yeah.
but I know there are some things that I'm really good at.
No, blow it.
You know, I say that so that they don't feel like you're proud or anything.
I didn't used to blow my trumpet because I used to think that you just need to get the job done, and then, you know, because everybody has KPIs. So when your KPI is met, it's okay. But you realize that if you don't blow your trumpet, you're not moving forward.
Somebody else might even be taking, you
They're
know,
not doing half of what you're doing, bro.
and they are taking
And
the
they are
glory for what you
getting
have
promoted.
done.
So blow your trumpet, bank on yourself, do whatever you need to legally.
And you can do all of
spiritually,
this in a
please.
polite way. You don't have to be nasty about it. You don't have to be rude. Yes. Thank you very much. You know, we are glad to have Abidemi here on this session.
Thank you. You're welcome. It's nice.
Yeah. So our besties, our people, you know, watching us from wherever you are, we have come to the end of today's episode of Reality Chat Room with Damz. We found it interesting. We hope that you find it interesting as well, and you'll be able to learn one or two from it. We hope that from now henceforth you'll stop, you know, people pleasing. You'll stop, you know, trying to fit in, and you start being more of yourself. You start liking yourself more and start standing firm on your decision, even while being kind at it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and also share our videos. Thank you. Bye.